See, here are some examples of obstacles. Not enough time, lack of motivation, laziness, excuses, don't know what to do, don't have money, don't know the right people, procrastination, lack of skills, no plan, right? All of that, they have one thing in common, and it's called lack of resources. It's not about the resources, it's about being resourceful. Now, what does that mean exactly? You see, there are no unresourceful people, just unresourceful states. See, we've all acted stupid in the past, not because we're stupid, because we've been in a stupid state. I'm sure you've experienced that, where you're angry or you're frustrated or you're feeling some strong negative emotion for whatever reason that happened, right? And then as you're feeling this negative emotion, does your level of intelligence go up or go down? The answer is it goes down, right? So the most important key to success is to put yourself in a resourceful state. You know, to succeed, you must be in a determined state. Even if you don't have the money, you don't know the right people, you don't know what to do. If you're passionate enough, if you're committed enough, you know, if you love people enough, can you find the answers to how to achieve your goals? For sure, right? In every situation, even I never was born in a wealthy family. You know, when I was 16 years old, unfortunately, my foster parents who adopted me kicked me out of the house. So I had nothing. I had no family support. I had no money, no education. But in spite of all that, that is not the determining factor. The determining factor to success is not the resources, but the ability to put yourself in a resourceful state, in a peak state, in a determined state, in a state where you're passionate, you're excited, in a state where you're willing to do whatever it takes. Does that make sense? You see, if you put somebody in a resourceful state, they will find a way to be successful. The most important element of any leader, and if you're an entrepreneur, you're a leader, is to put yourself in that resourceful state. You know, my company, when there's problems, you know, usually people are freaking out and they will be in an unresourceful state and they start panicking. But as a CEO, I put my chest up, I walk, and I show up absolutely resourceful. And I say, what's the problem? And I just solve it. It's not because I'm so intelligent, it's because problems don't make me unresourceful. Problems cause me to be more resourceful, more determined, more passionate. Does that make sense? So the job of a leader of a business is always to remain in a resourceful state. Because if you're in an unresourceful state, your behavior will reflect that. Are you with me? You can see here, states equal behavior. That's why it's so important to control your state. Your state controls your actions, and your actions control your results, yes? So, in order to get results, you need to take action. But in order to take action, you have to be in the right kind of state. You have to be in a resourceful state, in a determined state. If you're in an unresourceful state, you're not going to take action. So, in other words, what I'm trying to tell you here is peak state equals peak performance. You want to repeat that to yourself a few times. Peak state equals peak performance. Okay? When I coach sport athletes, and I've had professional tennis players come to me, and they want me to coach them. And the most important element is I tell them, I said, look, before you go on the court, you want to ask yourself on a scale from 1 to 10, how's my state right now? Am I at a 10 or am I at a 1? And I teach them, I say, look, what you want to do is spend 5 to 10 minutes before playing the game, putting yourself in a total peak state. Same with salespeople. I coach salespeople. I take companies and I coach their salespeople, their whole sales team, and I help them double, triple their sales in a period of just a few months. Every company that I've worked with so far, I was able to do this. Now, how do I do that? Well, first of all, I teach them to put themselves in the total peak state. Same process as sports athlete. We ask them and say, well, from a scale from 1 to 10, how's your state right now? Don't pick up the phone and make a prospecting call if you're in an unresourceful state. Put yourself in a resourceful state. The way I do it, and when I began my sales career, I did this incantation, and I would just repeat, I now command my subconscious mind to guide me, to influence this person to sign up for my program by giving me the strength, emotion, persuasion, humor, brevity, whatever it takes to guide me to persuade this person to sign up now. And I would repeat that over and over again. Well, by the time I picked up the phone to make a call, a sales call, I already knew they're going to buy. I didn't have to persuade them they're going to buy. They have to persuade me that they're not going to buy. Totally different mindset. Does that make sense? So all I'm here to tell you is I don't care what you do. Tomorrow I'm doing a seminar. I have 1,000 people. Same principle. I'm not going to show up on stage in a low energy state. I got to put myself at a total peak state. The performance of my seminar, it totally depends on the state I'm in. Is that making sense? Look, the reason I'm telling you that is I don't want you to take lightly what I'm teaching you here. The reason that I'm successful and my clients that I coach, and hopefully you're going to be successful, I expect you to be, is because you're going to utilize what you learn, right? What would happen in your life if before every important meeting, before every important prospecting call, you put yourself in a total peak state? You did that incantation. Would that change your life, you think? I'm sure you've answered yes. So in order to be at your peak performance all the time, then what we need to do is we need to create peak performance habits. What is it called? Peak performance habits. Now, what does that mean? It means that there are some habits that are going to cause you to be at your best performance. And in this coaching session, this is what I want to talk about. So let's jump into create success routines. If being in a peak state is so important, then what is the cause of state? I'm going to teach you there are 3 things. Number 1, physiology. We're going to learn about high power pose and low power pose. Next is beliefs. The belief, the meaning you're making about the event. And 3, the language patterns that you use. These 3 forces simultaneously control how you feel, and they control your state. So if you want to put yourself in a peak state, you have to take control of your physiology, your belief, and your language. So the key to a breakthrough is to have a daily goal. So whatever obstacle that you said that you have in the past, the solution is to turn that obstacle into a daily goal. Here's an example of one of my first, and I did it back in 2007 or 2005, I think. This is an example of one of my first tracking sheet. You see, there's a management principle that says that whatever you measure will improve. So I took my whole list of obstacles with my coach, and we turned them into daily outcomes. And you can take a look at, feel free to pause the video and look carefully. But we're actually going to do this with you, where we take your obstacles and we turn them into daily goal. Now, what do I mean by daily goal? Look, if you don't have energy, why is that? Is it because you're not drinking enough water? Is it because you're not eating enough vegetables? Is it because you're not exercising? Is it because you're not getting enough sleep? Whatever it is, you can track, you can start having a daily goal of how many vegetables you're going to eat, how much water you're going to drink, what kind of exercise are you going to do? And then you put that in your tracking sheet. And then we start measuring your performance based on your daily success routines. Does that make sense? So every obstacle you told me is really the solution to that, is to convert your obstacle into a daily success routine. So if you repeat the success routines enough time, then eventually it will become an unconscious habit. But in the beginning, it's not a habit because you haven't had enough, what? Repetition. Repetition is the key to creating habits. That makes sense? So the question is, what do you need to do every day, consistently, to achieve your 3 SMART goals that you set in the last session? And what we want to do is we want to create what we call a tracking sheet. Now, this is an example of a tracking sheet that you can do. So every day you're going to measure, did you do X, whatever it is that you need to do. And then if you did it, you put yes. Now, the goal of this obviously is to get a yes every day. But if you don't measure your performance every day, then you'll find out that it's very easy to get off track. So again, this tracking device, this tracking system to measure your performance every day saved my life. It's why I've been able to go from broke to where I am today. And the reason I've been able to do that is because I have a practice every day that I have. Let's call them, you can call them whatever you want, $1 million habits or, success habits or peak performance habits, whatever you want to call it. The reason I am where I am or anybody else is where they are is because they have these routines. So here's how we're going to do that. Pause this video, okay? And below here, you're going to download the tracking sheet. Now, actually, as I'm saying that, we're in the process of designing our own software. It's coming out soon. It's possible that by the time you watch this video, the software will be available. Either way, it doesn't matter. Now, one mention about the software, we're in the process, as I'm making this video, to designing this software, which is going to be the most amazing software in the world, okay? And the reason I say that is, let me give you the backstory, okay? I've spent, as I told you, over $1 million US, just so we're clear, on personal one-on-one coaching with some of the top coaches around the world, including the guy who charges $1 million for coaching. And one of the things that, occurred to me is that all these coaches struggle with something. It's also what made me successful. So this is kind of ironic. So listen to what I have to say. First, what made me successful is I built those habits. But one thing I've noticed is all these coaches, they struggle to keep me accountable every day. Now, I have a $100,000 program today. I charge executives $100,000 US, and I actually get paid that. For example, the CEO of Wall Street English paid me $100,000, okay? And for him, I would follow up every day and actually hold him accountable to his daily performance. So, but now in this program, I'm not, unless you pay me $100,000, we don't do that. But I don't do that personally, but we've actually created a software. And this software is designed to hold every one of our clients accountable. And trust me, I've had the experience where all these coaches that I hired, they kind of suck at it. But even though they sucked at it, the good thing about it is I got great results. So the reason I designed this software is to make sure that every day you're going to be at your best performance. And that coach will follow up with you every day. Isn't that awesome? It's the first time in history that such a software was made to work along with a coach to bring you at your best performance. In the past, this was not available. Now, with this software, you'll be able to create that consistency that creates the winner's edge. Now, another point to add to this software is that every time you get 100% every day, you get a trophy. Because people come to me and say, Michael, I'm going to be your best student in your program. And then, in order to be the best students, it's really going to depend on what you do every day. So if you really say to me, Michael, I'm going to be the best student in your class, prove it. Use this software, perform every day. Success is built one day at a time. Success is built on how you handle your days. Success says, today I'm going to be my best performance. And then you wake up tomorrow and you say the same thing. Today I'm going to be my best performance. And then you wake up the next day and what do you say? The same thing. Today I'm going to be at my best performance. If every day you wake up and you say, I am going to be at my best performance today, if you do that every day, what would your life be like? I'll tell you what your life will be like. You will triple your results. You will make 10 times. Did you know that since I began to practice this, that my income jumped 30 times higher within just 3.5 years? That's 30 times more income. I'm not just talking about doubling your income here. I'm talking about making substantial increase in your income. If you're able to get yourself at your best performance, and I will add one more thing. If you're a business owner, what if you could get your employees to be at their best performance every day? Well, this software will do that for you. This software is designed to help you bring yourself and your team at their best performance. Isn't that awesome? Don't you want that? I'm sure you've answered yes. Now let's talk about the 4 keys to creating the habits. Key number 1 is a reminder. What I mean by a reminder is that, hey, how do you know when to do your habits? Is it in the morning, right? As soon as you wake up, you follow your routine step by step? You've got to have a reminder. You got to know when to start. I recommend the morning. In the morning, you should go through kind of a morning routine. That way it's easy and you know exactly when to start. Second key is reward. Once you follow through and you do your habits, one of the most important elements of success is the ability to reward yourself. If you've ever helped a kid how to walk, a baby how to walk, how did you teach them? Good job, well done, right? I'm sure you've rewarded the baby for trying. The way we create habits, whatever you reward will become a habit. So the most important element of creating habit is rewarding. It's a reward system. All I'm trying to tell you here is that if you implement and you practice what I'm teaching you and you reward yourself, you'll begin to building those habits. And your brain will say, well, this is good. Every time I do this habit, I get rewarded. And you begin to build that habit. Does that make sense? There's 3 ways to reward your behavior. Number one, like I just did, pat yourself on the back. Number two, positive self-talk when you say to yourself, good job, or I'm awesome, right? Or number three, you celebrate. Now, what do I mean by celebration? You know, you put your hands up and you just go, yeah, or you just jump, right? Whatever it is you want to do, but you know, it's like kind of like, have you ever watched one of your uncles, or maybe you like football, or somebody who's a very sports enthusiasm, they have their favorite team, they score, what do? They jump up in the air and they celebrate. Well, what if you did that every time you followed through on your daily routines? You know, celebrate or pat yourself on the back or tell yourself how awesome you are. Now, the next part about building these success-oriented habits is a conditioning system. By conditioning, I mean like, you know, in order to make sure that you do build these success-oriented habits, number one, you've got to measure. Whatever you measure will improve. But you track, right? You have all these behaviors or these routines that you do every day. Did I take action today? I want you to close your eyes. And with your eyes closed, I want you to imagine that if you don't raise your standard today, what will be the ultimate consequence? If you don't hold yourself to the highest standard, if you're not consistent in your daily routine, what will be the ultimate consequence 3 months from now, 1 year from now, 2 years from now, 5 years from now, 10 years from now? And how do you feel about that consequence? How do you really feel about it if that happens? I'm sure you can feel some pain as I'm asking you these questions. Open your eyes, shake your body, get out of that state. Now close your eyes again. If you were to raise your standard higher than you've ever done before, if you were to hold yourself to the consistent high standard in your life, and you did that every day, consistently, what would be the biggest benefit in your life? What would be the ultimate reward for you? Well, somebody say, I would achieve my goal. Great. How would you feel if you achieved your goal? Feel that. Feel the pride that comes, the confidence that comes from achieving success. Now, as you're feeling these feelings, how committed are you from 1 to 10 to do all your daily routines today? 10 means you're absolutely committed, whereas 1 means you're not. Where would you say you're at? If you did the process successfully, it should be a 10. Now, this process of asking these questions is what I call daily success conditioning routine. I want to challenge you that if you really want to create change in your life, that you post right by your bathroom mirror those same questions that we just went through right now. And every morning you're going to wake up and ask those questions to condition yourself to create what we call mini Dickens pattern. Mini Dickens pattern means that you get yourself to link massive, unbearable, immediate feelings of pain if you don't follow through, and massive, immediate pleasure if you take action now. Does that make sense? See, the secret to success is to learn how to control pain and pleasure. If you learn how to control pain and pleasure, then you're in control of your life. But if not, then life controls you. Now that brings us to the next step. And the next step is accountability. Now, accountability means is somebody that's holding you accountable to your goals, right? Somebody who's going to check on you and they're going to ask you, how did you do? Are you on track or are you off track? That's key number 1. Now, I will tell you, right, I've had many different people try to hold me accountable to my routines. There's no substitute for a professional coach to hold you accountable, okay? And usually it's best to pay somebody to do that. You know, if you ask your grandma or your mom or your dad to do this, chances are they won't do a good job, okay? If you want somebody to do a good job, pay for that service. In my life, and that's why we offer the software, the RapidGoals software is designed to do exactly that. Have somebody professionally pay to hold you accountable. Key number 2, they will reward you if you're on track or remind you to get back on track if you're off track. And number 3, they will ensure that you're consistent. Those are the 3 keys to accountability. Now that brings us to the last part, your 3 commitments. So in today's session, you discovered the success routines and something that's brought me from broke to millionaire in 3.5 years. And if you practice those same routines, it's going to totally change your life. So I want you, one of the commitments that you need to make is you need to design, first of all, your routines. And if I'm coaching you, you're going to send it to me. If one of my certified success coaches is coaching you, then you need to send it to them. Okay? Once you practice that and you put that into motion, then we can unlock the next session. This is Michael Bolduc signing off, saying live in a beautiful state no matter what happens as you achieve your dreams. Bye for now.